Welcome back to ShopLifeTV. This video has been requested by a subscriber. His name is Guillermo Mijares. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Tried my best. Pretty much, I'm going to be going over what you should do when you first buy your car in terms of modifications. So before you even start modifying your car, first thing you want to do is you want to know what you want your car to be. So like, are you trying to go like full track car? Do you want to do mainly performance? Do you want to just do cosmetic? Like what is your goal? That's what you want to find out first. So once you have your goal in mind, you want to go ahead and start making a list of everything that needs to be done to the car to get to that goal. So start making a parts list of everything you need, research on the forums, research on YouTube, look at any other sites that sell parts, compare prices. So start up like an Excel sheet or something and write down all the parts that you need and then compare all the prices. If you're not going to be doing the work yourself, you might want to call around and get some quotes for labor as well, because you can go ahead and buy the parts, but sometimes the labor, almost most of the time, the labor is going to be more expensive than the part itself. So if you're going to do cosmetic stuff, you're probably going to have to get stuff painted. Be ready for paint matching. Whenever you try to match a paint color, it might not match on the first try, and even if it does, you might have to blend in, so it's going to cost more. So you got to keep all this stuff in mind. Research on the forums, see what people are doing, how much it's costing them. If they don't say how much it costs, just like see how much work is involved. That way you can estimate the cost. A lot of people recommend sites and stuff of where to get stuff. You can also find a lot of stuff secondhand on Craigslist. But only thing with that is you can't really estimate that cost, because if you find it on Craigslist, if you're trying to buy it like a month or two down the road, it might not be there. So you want to go ahead and buy those parts right away. So this all depends on how ready you are, how much funds you have. So you just got to budget everything. That's the main thing. If you look at a lot of projects online like Stance Works and stuff like that, you'll see that people start out strong on their project. So they have everything going for them, and then something just comes up and they start running out of funds. So budget is usually the main reason why people don't complete their builds. So I'm not even talking about builds in general. I'm just talking about modifications overall. So whatever you want your car to be, like what your ultimate end goal is, you need to start planning for it before you buy or before you decide on doing anything. And first things first, even before the goals, just make sure your car is maintained properly. So if you need to catch up on like changing gaskets, bushings, bearings, whatever, you want to go ahead and do those first before you start planning on modifications. That way you don't have to worry about doing that after you do the modifications, and you might not have enough funds left over. So let me go and start breaking it down by what you should do, like what I would recommend doing first. So like I said, maintenance always, maintenance first. After the maintenance, let's start getting to the modifications. So first modifications I would do would relate to suspension and your braking, especially if you're trying to go more performance oriented in your build or your project, whatever. If you want to get more performance as your end goal, you want to always start with suspension and braking. That way you can make sure that your suspension and you have enough stopping force if you have extra power in the end. And it never hurts to have a very well handling suspension and good braking. Especially, it doesn't matter if you don't go any extra performance. Sometimes suspension will end up beating straight line performance. And especially depending on where you're going to be taking your car, if you're going to be going to the canyons, the mountains, whatever, and you want to just have a fun, nimble car, you want to go ahead and do suspension modifications. So suspension wise, you can do coilovers, you can do airbags, you can just do lowering springs and performance struts and shocks. You can change like your camber arms, your control arms, bushings, and various other items that will make the car feel and handle a lot better than it did from the factory. So there's a lot of aftermarket options for many vehicles. If you don't have aftermarket options, you can always replace with just aftermarket bushings and stuff that are OEM quality. That way your car will be feeling like new again. Like I said, you can also do the braking. Braking, there's many kits out there for bigger brakes, or you can just do better rotors, better pads, better calipers. You can retrofit calipers and stuff from other vehicle applications. It all depends what your car is and what you want to end up being at. So after you're done with suspension and braking, you can go ahead and start doing performance if that's where you want to go. In terms of performance, depending on what kind of car you have, you can do headers, you can do cold air intakes if it's not already a cold air intake. You can get tunes done. You can just pretty much upgrade your intercooler and stuff like that if you have a turbo car. You can change camshafts. Performance-wise, your build can take a turn depending on how big your wallet is. So if you got a lot of money that you want to throw at it in performance, you can spend more money on camshafts, get a built engine and stuff like that. Or you can just do the maintenance and add a few extra things. You can even go forced induction, superchargers, turbochargers. It all depends on what you want your end goal to be in terms of performance as well. But one thing I highly suggest is do not do a ton of performance upgrades and not have the suspension and the brakes to go with it, because then you're going to have an unbalanced car and you're pretty much not going to have the full effect of a well handling and well performance oriented car. The last thing that I suggest doing is cosmetics. So cosmetics, that include like bumpers, fenders, interior cosmetic modifications, side skirts, like wheels, like big wheels, or 3-piece wheels, 2-piece wheels, whatever you want to do, any types of aftermarket wheels, wide bodies and stuff like that, different paint job, whatever you want to do in terms of cosmetic. I like to leave that till the very, very end, because you can still have a well-running and driving car. Even if it looks like shit, it still drives and it runs well. It doesn't always matter how your car looks if it handles amazing and it drives very well. Keep the cosmetics for the last, very, very, very last option. Unless you really don't care about suspension and braking, you just want to go stanced out car, you can just go straight up cosmetic and just do the maintenance. So that's pretty much it for modifications, guys. If you guys have any specific cars that you guys want to make suggestions on in terms of modifications, feel free to leave a comment down below. And another thing, I just started up a vlog channel where I show my day-to-day life, mostly entertaining things. I don't like to show stuff, me just doing schoolwork, that's just boring. But any other things like working on cars that I don't make DIYs for, or just going places, exploring California and all that, I like to make vlogs for that. So feel free to go ahead and subscribe to that channel. It's called Shop Life Vlogs. It'll be linked down below. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more videos.